It's the Movie Channel's fantastic Voyages. And all month long, we'll be taking you on an exclusive journey to the far reaches of the imagination. Hello, I'm your host, William Shatner. There was once a time when, in order to see outer space, we had to look up into the sky, or into our own mind's eye. Now, a dark room, a large screen, and a film projector are all we need to travel beyond the stars. For the special effects artists who create galaxies far away, technology, time, and money have their limitations. But their imagination is as wide open as space itself. John Dykstra and Richard Edlund are two Academy Award-winning special effects artists. Join the Movie Channel as we travel into the back rooms of their workplaces for an exclusive look at how the fantastic is made. If the sky could deliver upon demand, then there would be no need for starfield generators or clouds simulated inside tanks. But let's face it, from down here on Earth, the stars often just aren't bright enough, and clouds are as dull as they are dramatic. So if you happen to be producing a movie that calls for some fancy celestial footwork, you're better off turning to a group of photographic wizards than shooting the actual thing itself.
Go higher, John.
3 dimensions is where I live, and pictures is where I live. And I'm sort of at a loss to describe something to someone without a piece of paper and a pencil. I was a designer for a long while. My foundation was totally in the realm of designing toasters and blenders, and for the shape and the color and the form, and form follows function, and I should have rounded corners. That's a pain, because ultimately you come down to going, well, this is a great looking shape, but you can't make it, okay? The beauty of doing special effects is that creative bent is able to be satisfied simply by making people think it exists.
John Dykstra heads up the team at Apogee, the company responsible for many of the special effects in Dune and The Last Starfighter.
Each person who comes to you wants their own planet. And in fact, in the contracts it says throughout the universe in perpetuity, right? But they want a unique image. They want to deal with space or underwater or an unavailable environment as though it were a set, as though it were a location that you would go shoot. And what you do is you create then that environment in your mind, and you say, I only have 2 shots, one that's looking down the street this way in the year 2000, and one that's looking down the street this way in the year 2000. And I can shoot those 2 shots and create those 2 images, but I really have to build the idea of the year 2000, because if I don't, then I'm going to miss things. I'm going to have a fire plug in the shot, which doesn't make sense. You have to make in your mind's eye an environment that you can pan around and pick a shot out of. And that's the only way you can get believable, effective images.
Every special effects shot is composed of many separate elements. They don't look like much when they're seen alone. A cutout, a red glare, a background starfield. But when they all come together like building blocks, they form a single dazzling image.
There's probably a maximum of 7 or 8 separately photographed, maybe 10 separately photographed elements that go into the average composite in 2010, including things like the Milky Way would be shot separately. Little tiny stars or nebula would be in there, and they would be shot separately and put in as sweetening elements.
Richard Edlund's company, BFC, created the fantastic effects for 2010.
In 2010, one of the stars of the picture is the monolith, of course, signifying some sort of intelligence. The first most difficult thing to photograph is a sphere, an orb, because you have every light that you put on it is reflected back to the camera. The second most difficult thing is the monolith, you know, because it has to be so perfect, and it really is not supposed to reflect any light, theoretically, but on the other hand, if it doesn't reflect any light, then you can't give it any shape. So there was the problem of getting this subtle, just off black shape and a modeling to it, which would have been extremely difficult to do as a miniature. If you had a fleck of dust on it, you'd have to reshoot it, or a smudge, anything like that. It had to be perfect. So we chose to do it with paintings, and that worked out very well.
Putting men in space is probably as difficult for a special effects team as it is for NASA. Backgrounds are painted on large mats. Actors are photographed against a solid blue screen. With some sophisticated photography and a little abracadabra, all the elements are combined. Spacecrafts are, of course, always visual stars in special effects movies. Miniature models have been used since the first sci-fi films.
There were a lot of models that were essentially made by scavenging parts off of model tank kits and car kits and things and gluing them onto some shape. And that, people bought that. I mean, Kubrick's film 2001 was essentially a very well-crafted job of kit scavenging in some cases, but it echoed what people thought the technology should be, and they believed it. We're echoing technology now that's far more sophisticated than that. We've been to the moon, and there's a space shuttle that goes up and down. Hence, we've got to be far more sophisticated in the portrayal of the images that we're trying to convince people are real.
With every new project, the technology improves. With state-of-the-art motors to drive state-of-the-art cameras, chemistry that never existed before, and computer equipment that's revolutionizing the field.
Nuts and bolts are things that hold things together, and the things they hold together are things to make something, and the thing that they make is what's special. And it doesn't make any difference whether you connect a toaster and a vacuum cleaner. If it does something that's neat, then the knowledge that you have in terms of the mechanical aspect of it is just a means to an end, because the end is what's fun. I don't care about toasters and vacuum cleaners. I care about making something that's new and different, special.
I suppose no matter how spectacular special effects become, my favorite will always be the beam me up Scotty trick. This is William Shatner, hoping you'll join me for Fantastic Voyages, exclusively on the Movie Channel.
Coming soon on the Movie Channel, we'll be ending the year in style, because in December, comedy takes a front row seat with Michael Keaton and Joe Piscopo starring in Johnny Dangerously. Dudley Moore and Eddie Murphy aren't just two of the funniest men in America.
I'm not in this war!
They're democracy's best defense.
I'm from Cleveland!
A national pay cable exclusive you won't see on HBO or Cinemax. And don't miss more blockbuster movies like The River, starring Sissy Spacek and Mel Gibson, Night of the Comet, and Mass Appeal with Jack Lemmon. Watch for our special features in December as well, including Musical Week, Jimmy Stewart Month, and our Best of 85 Marathon featuring your favorite films of the year. Then in January, start the year off right.
You see, something's going to happen.
Share the adventure with Roy Scheider in 2010. And don't miss the magic of the Cotton Club, starring Richard Gere. There's more great movie entertainment coming soon on the Movie Channel.
This is the Movie Channel's feature presentation. This film has been rated R by the Motion Picture Association of America and can be heard in stereo. This picture is closed captioned for the hearing impaired.